Are you tired of political charades and empty promises? Welcome to the Revolutionary Hour on Boss Radio, where we uncover untold stories and hidden truths of history, politics, and science. Hosted by the passionate Mr. E, the Revolutionary Hour is a call to action each week. Mr. E dives deep into Moorish history, unravels political complexities, and explores scientific discoveries that challenge the status quo. With expert interviews and meticulously researched papers, the show reveals the truth behind the headlines. From ancient conspiracies to modern-day injustices, the Revolutionary Hour exudes love, truth, peace, justice, and freedom with every episode. This is a show that pushes the boundaries of what you thought you knew, encouraging you to rise above the noise and seek meaningful change. The show's logo, a green 5-point star on a cherry red background, inspired by the Moorish flag, symbolizes its dedication to truth and justice. Mr. E says, the revolution starts in your mind. Are you ready to awaken? Revolutionary Hour speaks directly to Black people who want real change beyond meaningless symbolic gestures. The tone is serious, informative, and slightly militant, reflecting Mr. E's frustration with the status quo. Each episode is a journey to enlightenment, challenging listeners to think critically and act decisively. With its informal and explicit platform, Revolutionary Hour delves into detailed stories and conspiracy theories, creating a compelling experience. Tune in to Revolutionary Hour on Boss Radio. Subscribe now and never miss an episode. Your journey to enlightenment begins now. Revolutionary Hour, because the truth has no agenda.
BOSS Radio, Southside Bosses, its owners and associates take no responsibility for the opinions or statements made by the talk show host or their guests. Statements or show topics are not necessarily the beliefs of the site or the radio station, and opinions between talk show hosts may conflict. This site does not endorse anything as the truth. That you will have to judge for yourself. But we try to speak the truth on the owner's behalf and reserve the right to question the supposed truth. In this time of misinformation, government-controlled media, and government corruption, it is sometimes hard to get to the truth, but we must try. It is not our intention to libel, discriminate, make hate, or annoy anyone. We believe that it is our constitutional First Amendment right of free speech to voice our opinions and our duty to the Constitution and country to expose the truth. This site takes no responsibility for the opinions of others and the postings of comments in chat rooms or forum posts.
All right, everybody, you know what it is. Your boy, Mr. E, boss of the Southside Bosses, and we here on Revolutionary Hour, you know, the podcast where we bring y'all experts in their fields, and we have a fantastic interviewee today. From here, I met him here in Corpus Christi, Texas, and he's right up my alley. He's done the same things I talked to y'all about. He has done in a tremendous amount of. So I'm glad to have him on because I am damn sure going to be learning a lot from him. And I hope that you're going to get a lot out of this conversation as well. So I want to introduce y'all here to Clifton Pope, who is widely recognized by his social media handle at CPope. He is a dynamic entrepreneur and a founder of Health, Fitness, Wealth. As an accomplished author and podcast host, Clifton has made significant strides in promoting holistic well-being through his multifaceted venues. His book, What's Wealth Without Work, delves into the interconnectedness of financial success, personal effort, and physical health, offering readers insightful guidance on achieving a balanced and prosperous life. Clifton's podcast, Health, Fitness, Wealth, and Business, is a platform where he shares his expertise and interviews like-minded individuals who are leaders in their fields. His engaging style and commitment to fostering a community of health-conscious, financially savvy listeners have made his podcast a go-to resource for those looking to enhance their overall quality of life. Health, Fitness, Wealth, under Clifton's leadership, aims to educate and inspire individuals to achieve their best selves through comprehensive approaches to health, fitness, and financial stability. His influence extends across various social media platforms where he continues to motivate and connect with a broad audience. I just want to say it is a pleasure to have you on here today, sir.
No, that's probably the best introduction I think I've had on anyone's podcast as far as being a guest on people's podcasts, which is rare. And I appreciate you, Mr. E, for doing your research as well. So it's a pleasure to be here on this wonderful Wednesday morning, I would say. Words of wisdom
Yes.
for that matter. And it's funny because that's what there's going to be a lot of words of wisdom gems being dropped here on this particular episode. So I'm truly humbled and honored to be a part of this.
Oh yeah, see that's what we aspired to have on here is nothing but gems and nothing but wisdom because
Mhm.
it's hard times right now. I think we're
Yeah.
in unprecedented times, and with these times going on, the only thing that you can have and be of for sure have is knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. So when talking to you and then actually doing my research, I was like, yes, this is an interview that we have to have. Got to make this happen. That way we can get to the people, the mindset that you bestow or that you
Mhm.
actually have upon yourself and get that out to the people so that they can benefit from it.
Right. I love it. I love it. It's basically just it stems from just, overall what I've been through within my overall experiences. For those who are listening to this particular episode, of course, my name's Clifton Pope. I'm the founder and CEO of my company, Health, Fitness, Wealth Business. And at the same time, I was born and raised here in Corpus Christi, Texas, my whole entire life. It's been an interesting journey, I would say, for the most part, because, I'm grateful for, having both of my parents into my life because as a black man, you'd be lucky to have, of course, both of them into your life on a continuous matter. And I'm grateful because I was able to learn from both my mom and from both my dad because my mom is a registered nurse and now is a regional nurse manager for the VA clinic. So I was kind of introduced as far as to like the medical field coincidentally because I used to always be around hanging around my mom in hospitals, doctors' offices. And at the same time, my dad was a teacher and a coach, still is to this very day. As a matter of fact, he's getting ready to be a sixth grade social studies teacher and a seventh grade football, basketball, and track coach at Martin Middle School here in Corpus Christi, Texas, where he won Teacher of the Year before back in 2017. So he's revisiting some old stomping grounds for that matter. But I kind of learned like the education, the information, and of course the importance of just staying active primarily from my dad. It's like the one things he would always tell me growing up as a child as I was trying to figure out what sports I wanted to play, experimenting with what I was good at and stuff. He told me to always exercise, to always eat right, and to always get an adequate amount of sleep. To this very day, two of the three that I could honestly say I've mastered. The one that is a challenge at times, and I'm sure is a challenge for you, E, and everybody, is an adequate amount of sleep. I mean, with
Yes.
this fast-paced life that we're living, and it's hard to turn off our minds at times to where we can fully get the adequate amount of sleep to where we can reset our circadian rhythm and all that wonderful stuff. But overall, it's like I learned so much from my mom. I learned so much from my dad. It's like they were big influences in my life. I mean, that's why when it comes to like, for instance, like the 10 commandments, my favorite one is honor thy mother and father, because I take that to heart very,
Yes.
very seriously because I feel like to this day, I'm half of my mom and I'm half of my dad. I mean, I wouldn't be who I am as an individual without giving them their praises and giving them their flowers first and foremost. And it's like, they were there through it all without a doubt as parents should be for their childs. It's like my mom would always be taking care of me back when I was growing up as an asthmatic child, always being sick growing up as a kid. And what really got me out of being like that asthmatic child, ironically enough, was just the more active I became in sports, the more active I became in moving my body, so to speak, the more I was able to just outgrow my asthma to where I was, because at the point, this is where how it was. Growing up as a kid, I was basically asthmatic child. I had to have like 3 different inhalers. I had to sleep on breathing treatments, the whole 9 yards. I was able to outgrow that through playing like football, basketball, a little bit of baseball. I did martial arts growing up as a child from 5th grade to 8th grade to where I finished with a 2nd-degree black belt. And it's funny, E, that the reason why I did martial arts, and that was kind of like a game changer for me at the time, was one, to work on my footwork for basketball because that's the sport I gravitated towards the most all the way up
Right.
until high school when I graduated high school from Moody High School here in Corpus Christi, Texas, back in 2010, of course, class of 2010, Mighty Trojans, all that wonderful stuff. And from there, it's like the martial arts kind of taught me the importance of discipline. It taught me the importance of just being able to defend myself first and foremost. And I feel like that is kind of what helped shape me as far as to like have like that structure that I have to this very day, as far as just from the discipline and this mastery of self and everything. And then when I graduated Moody High School, of course, there became my overall journey as far as which path that I wanted to go down, like everyone else is when they graduate high school. Right. I tried going down my mom's path of doing nursing school. At the time, it was like mentally I wasn't there, and it didn't fit me at that particular time. Same with me trying to go my dad's route with the kinesiology department and stuff, because there's a lot of factors that played into it. I mean, part of it was me, at the time graduating from high school, just being a little bit lazy, hanging out with the wrong crowd, partying more than I should, putting myself in dear life or death situations when that wasn't part of the plan, going through those phases and going through some dark times for that matter as well. And from there, it's like I was back and forth, trying to figure out what major I was trying to do at Del Mar College. And then that was about 2011 to 2014. And I was kind of going back and forth between everything I just described. Fast forward to about 2015 was when really things started to take a turn for the better as far as coming out of those dark times. I give credit to my girlfriend, the love of my life to this very day, Miss Emily Espinosa, because I always tell her this and I always pray about this at times. It's like, I do not know where my life would be if she didn't come into my life when she did, because I feel like she, along with mostly myself, but she kind of gave me that extra push to kind of pull myself out of those dark times and really get my life together. And at the same time, I was just kind of transitioning to like, had enough of trying to figure out and trying to be like my mom and my dad and stuff. I need to create my own lane. So that was when I kind of pulled the college dropout. I pulled the Kanye West, so to speak, and just decided to work, jobs from time, work little jobs, dead end jobs, as they would call, working for moving companies. I worked at 2 Men in a Truck, cars delivery service. I worked at call centers to kind of like develop my communication skills. And little did I know, all of those things at some point would pay off to the path that I'm currently on now, because I remember when I was going through those jobs and everything, I had a conversation with my mom. She was like, you know what? You should try going to this vocational school called Southern Career Institute and look into becoming a pharmacy technician. And that's kind of what slightly opened the door as far as I want to explore a little bit of the conventional medicine side of things and just understand how that affects the body and stuff. And then fast forward 2016, enrolled in Southern Careers Institute, did the 9-month program, got certified as a pharmacy technician, which I worked at Walgreens from 2018 to 2022. And don't get me wrong, there was joy and passion at first within that based off of everything I just previously described. But of course, 2020 came, pandemic happened. I started to like really take a step back and kind of evaluate stuff, because that was when working in the pharmacy became a whole lot more stressful when the pandemic came. Don't get me wrong, it was stressful before the pandemic happened, but I still had that joy and I still had that passion. But then something happened with the pandemic to where it's like a whole new level of stress and depression and anxiety. There was times where I'd come home like mentally and emotionally drained from dealing with the patients on a regular basis who are already stressed out and depressed and full of anxiety as it is from dealing with doctor's visits, being in the hospital, dealing with insurance companies, going back and forth, trying to figure out why their medicine isn't being covered by their insurance. And then on top of that, just maintaining the daily duties that you have to do within the pharmacy. It's like you literally have to multitask, number one, and do a million things at once, all at the same time. And I was able to pick up that skill, which helped out in me transitioning into an entrepreneur path as well. It's like the path of my life, what I realized, within everything that I went through, I was able to pick up a certain skill from everything that pays off to where I am currently. Like, for instance, working in moving companies like Two Men in the Truck, I was able to, of course, still remain active, and I was able to still develop strength from lifting all the heavy furniture, boxes, and all that stuff. When I was working at the call centers, I was able to learn like communication skills and basic sales techniques from within, based off of me having to push certain products and calling them, hey, would you like to sign up for this? Would you like to sign up for that?
Right.
All of these things I didn't realize at the moment that I was picking them up, but looking back at it, I always tell myself, wow, working at this place paid off, working at that place paid off, because it was opening up doors and creating different avenues and different lanes. And fast forward, coming back into where I was during the pandemic and stuff, it allowed me to, of course, sit down and, of course, think about a whole bunch of things just like everybody else in the world at the time. And the one thought that came to my mind in particular, after seeing all these patients coming in on a regular basis, I just thought to myself, whatever happened to the natural holistic path? Whatever happened to natural remedies? Because my thought behind this, was this. Don't get me wrong. We need doctors and nurses in life or death situations. But my thing is this. If you have like a sore throat or a cough or a cold, or if you just have allergies and stuff,
right,
there's so many natural remedies that you can utilize to, of course, relieve yourself from those systems and take control of your overall health, and realize that you have the ability to heal yourself from within. So from that epiphany and that thought that came up at that time, that's where I was like, you know what? I feel like this is God giving me an opportunity to follow my path based on my overall calling, and just take on a hands-on approach to just help as many people as possible, just to get control of their health and take back those qualities as far as just their overall well-being, because it's a generational curse kind of thing from what I looked at it from its overall overview. From there, it's like, you don't have to be like the next person in line to suffer from a pre-existing health condition. From what I mean by that, look at where we live here in Corpus Christi, Texas. The majority of the people here in Corpus Christi, Texas are suffering from diabetes off the top. That's what I can tell you from my experience working in the pharmacy. I can't count how many metformin prescriptions I've seen filled, all the different types of insulins, the Jardiances, all the diabetes medications of the world. Going back to the generational curse aspect, just because, for example, your grandfather and your father have a history of diabetes doesn't mean you have to be the next person in line. When you realize that, you have the ability to break that generational curse and kind of reverse that and manifest more healthier habits as far as just creating opportunities for generational health. Most importantly, that's the key right there. And that's kind of the building blocks of what started health, fitness, wealth, business. That at the same time realizing that, health is wealth at the end of the day. I mean, during the pandemic, I literally sat down and realized, yes, you can you can chase after the success. Yes, you can chase after the money, the security, and that comes with all of that. But none of that is going to matter if you don't have your health in order. So it's like once that I came to the realization of that, I decided to create a platform and basically start my own business based off of what I've already been passionate about and what I love to do, which is, of course, exercising. I've always been great at eating right, and just going into just studying those things a little bit more into a science. That way I can provide that information, provide the resources on what's already been proven, but at the same time sprinkle in my own little flavor based on what I overall experienced. Fast forward to about 2021, that's when I first created Health, Fitness, Wealth Business as far as launching the official website. And then from the website, I thought to myself, how can I get health, fitness, wealth, business a little bit out there? I figured, why not start a podcast and put the company and the business name as the name of the podcast? That way people can be like, oh, health, fitness, wealth, business. He has a website called that. Let me check that out. And then at the same time, I can be able to speak my overall views, beliefs, and passions on everything health, wealth, knowledge of self, which is the three core principles of what health, fitness, wealth, business is all about. And then, and then at the same time, bring in other individuals, other like-minded individuals who can relate to those things, but at the same time, giving them a platform to, of course, tell their story and let their voice be heard as far as just providing tips and tricks on how they go through everyday life, of course, what they went through within their overall experience. Because one thing I got about doing podcasting, is that you never know who could be listening anywhere all across the world. And at the same time, all it takes is one person to become so empowered to where they tell the next person. And the next thing you know, you got a movement growing and spreading like wildfire, so to speak. So from there,
word of mouth.
Yeah, word of mouth, exactly. So you got the website, then you got, of course, the podcast. I wanted to go a little bit deeper because I felt like those two things weren't enough. Again, just creating different avenues, different lanes of course, most importantly, passive income, to where I wanted to create opportunities to where I'm not working for money. I'm making money work for me, to where I can make it within my sleep in due time. So I figured, why not put out a book? And you alluded to one of the books, What's Wealth Without Work, which is pretty much all about putting in the work and creating your own wealth through the work based off of whatever your skill, your gift, your talent, and your overall passion is. And just realizing at the end of the day, what is your end game and what are you trying to get out of life and what are you trying to make out of yourself, and showing people how they can do that from a health side to a wealth side, the overall just knowing yourself, knowing your values, and knowing your beliefs. And the funny thing about it is, I wasn't even planning on writing a book. It goes back to how much I honor my mom and my dad, because I'll never forget this conversation I had with my dad. I was in the kitchen. He comes in, walks in from the kitchen, he was just going on a little bit of a peaceful rant, I would call it, just expressing gratitude more than anything. I remember this is exactly what he said. He said, man, son, I lived one hell of a life so much to where I feel like I could write a book about it. And that's where that initial thought came in, to where it's like, I never thought I would see the day to which my dad would even consider writing a book. And then, ironically enough, the thought spawned on me where I was like, you know what? If my dad can do it, why not me? So ironically enough, to this very day, I kind of beat him to the punch as far as writing my own book and stuff. Well, two books for that matter. One of them you alluded to, again, What's Wealth Without Work. The second book, A Dollar and a Vision. Both of them, of course, available on Amazon, all that fun stuff. And Dollar and a Vision is kind of like picking up where What's Wealth Without Work left off, as far as continuing that conversation of just really all it starts is with what you see within your mind, and just bringing it to the physical form, beginning with the end in mind, and then just really cashing in on the opportunity while it's in front of you more than anything. Hence, a dollar and a vision. Because most people say a dollar and a dream. I look at it like a dollar and a vision. You got to see the opportunity within front of you with your own two eyes. That way you could cash in on it while it's in front of you, as far as just, again, cashing in on your opportunity. And again, it just goes back to, hey, if I can do it, so can you. And then from there, from the website to the podcast to the books, that kind of opened up all these doors of opportunities here within the community of Corpus Christi, to where that opened up the door of opportunity for the Corpus Christi Black Chambers of Commerce. They came knocking on the door. Well, I wouldn't say they came knocking on the door. I was just in the right place at the right time, because I remember going to a networking event. It was the United Chambers of Commerce Christmas party, and that's where I met the vice president of the Black Chambers of Commerce, Curtis Clark. That's when we had a conversation. We hit it off. He said, we need more young leaders in the community like yourself to help make a difference. Fast forward, first meeting I did with the Black Chambers of Commerce, I immediately got inducted into the board as their parliamentarian. Wow. I know that's something within itself, and that was literally not part of the plan. And then from there, that opened up the door of opportunity for more things. Because I don't know if you could see from behind me, right this way, or this way. I'm all pointing in the wrong direction. There's a plaque behind me to where it's basically the Young Business Leader of the Award that I won at the Corpus Christi Black Chambers of Commerce annual banquet we had back in 2022. And again, that just started off of just me taking my own path as an entrepreneur, and they realizing how influential and impactful I was just as a leader within itself, to where it's like, we have to give this man his flowers. And then that opened up more opportunities just to be more involved in other organizations and communities. Because I don't know if I told you this or not before, E, but I'm also part of the Mission of Mercy Associate Board of Directors, which is a medical facility that basically offers free medical, vision, and overall veterinary services to those who are in need of it and who basically don't have any insurance. Serves to veterans. All you have to do is just fill out a simple application, and if you qualify underneath that simple application, you could get access to those services. And then fast forward to this year, 3 months ago in April, I actually won this award that I have right here in my hands, a Volunteer Impact Award for all the things that I did with Mission of Mercy, which was put together like 2 Healthy Heart festivals to raise awareness on heart health. I was able to put together a meditation fundraiser just to raise awareness on the importance of meditation. And just those things alone, along with all the other stuff that I did, it allowed me to get that, which leads me to where I am currently at this very moment, just continuing to grow, continuing to find room for improvement, and just really continuing to be the best version of myself that I can be. And that's kind of my overall story as far as the best brief overview that I can provide as far as summarizing it. There's a lot more things that happen in between, E, don't get me wrong, but that's the best. And I could summarize it up to this very moment to all of your listeners.
And that just shows how active you stayed, and that's an attestament to the grind gonna pay off. Because like you said, you didn't know at that time that what you was doing was actually setting you up for the position that you're in now, but you just so happened to be making the right decisions at that time in your life to set yourself up for success. Like a lot of us don't actually understand the steps to success because they see these, they see Hollywood, they listen to music, and they like it's instantaneous. I think somebody said that we live in a microwave society.
Oh yeah, I've heard that before too.
Yeah, we want things now, bing now, instead of actually putting that food and cooking from scratch and showing your work. Nobody want to show their work anymore because really don't nobody want to work anymore. Like, that's a good question that just brought up. How do we? Because I know when it comes to what you teach, you can't get through to somebody that does not have ambition, that does not have like you said. Some people say $1 in a dream. No, you need that vision, like you said, that vision, because that vision, you see yourself doing it versus you sleeping on yourself doing it. What can you do to help get that person to understand that, or do you just let them live their life?
That's a great question. The best answer I can give in regards to that, E, is you just have to, well, first and foremost, it starts with yourself. You have to, what I've been telling people more than ever lately, E, is that you have to dedicate time towards taking care of yourself. One book in particular that kind of changed my direction as far as being able to like implement the importance of self-care practices. You may have heard of this book. You may not have, E. It's called The Miracle Morning by Al Harad. That book right there, if you haven't read it, E, I definitely recommend you reading it. And I definitely recommend all of your listeners to read that book, because that right there, it opened my eyes to the importance of just practicing self-care. And he talks about a particular method called the Savers Method, which is silence, affirmations, visualizations, exercise, reading, and scribing, hence writing. During the pandemic, I began to implement that particular practice to help get me through those dark times of the pandemic. It's just finding time to just obviously exercise, finding time to just, read like self-help and self-improvement books to where you can be able to find yourself based off of studies and information and resources that have already been proven time and time again. And at the same time, just being able to like write down your thoughts, write down how you're feeling, like literally just like let it all spill out, and then most importantly, wrap that up with writing down 5 things that you're grateful for every single time. I definitely challenge everybody to do that. And then you, of course, going back to the vision aspect, you got to like, if someone feels like they're uninspired, they're lazy, and they don't have the work ethic, they need to shift their paradigm a little bit as far as their overall thought process. Instead of saying, for example, I can't do this, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this, tell yourself this: I can do it, I will do it, and I must do it. Those 3 simple affirmations alone could shift the paradigm to where it's like you have more of a positive outlook versus a negative outlook, which is why affirmations and visualizations kind of go hand in hand. Because if you're telling yourself these positive thoughts over and over again, and you close your eyes and you visualize those things over and over again, you'd be surprised on what you could manifest from within as far as having access to the infinite intelligence and having access to the universe as far as the energy and the frequency and the vibrations that it brings, and you allowing that to just flow through you based off of what you get out, what you put in. For instance, the law of correspondence, one of the universal laws. If you put out into the universe positive thoughts, you're going to get back positive thoughts. It may not happen right away in this quote unquote microwave society, but let it cook in the oven a little bit. And I guarantee you it's going to be some real good loving without a shadow of a doubt. And just tying all this back to the Savers method, you got to have a moment of silence for yourself. You got to just keep faith in God. You got to remove yourself from your thoughts. You got to remove yourself from your emotions. You got to remove yourself from your overall ego and just realize that everything that you could ever want is already from within, because you're already complete from within by just meditating and visualizing and just focusing on the power of your breath to where it allows your mind to be under control in this calm, cool, collective rest and digest state. Because I feel like people aren't getting to where they want to be because they don't know what it is that works for them, and they don't know what it is that they exactly want at this particular moment. So they just need to go back to just, taking care of themselves first and just searching within themselves. That way they can fully know themselves, and at the same time create those beliefs, those values, and everything within itself, and just put a system in place and put a routine in place that works for you, and just developing patterns of consistency behind it to where you can accomplish your to-do list, you can accomplish your goals, and you can fulfill your vision, mission, and sense of purpose that you are here in this particular world to do. Because you belong to this world at the end of the day. It's just a matter of you figuring out the reason for it.
Right. And that's so true right there. A lot of people don't hear the fact that I came here, I had to beat out trillions of sperm in order to be here. So if I was able to do that, I had to do that for a reason. It was a reason why I was the strongest swimmer in that river. Mm-hmm. And I think that we forget about that because of our health. I think our health has a lot to do with us missing our purpose. Mm-hmm. And of course, your health, I think you said it earlier, stems from gut health. If you don't have a healthy gut, your whole health system is just going to be off. It's going to be off whack. How do you reach, like when let's say you got a brand new client, mm-hmm. you can tell just by their skin alone, because we know that skin is your number one signal to something being wrong.
It's the largest organ in your body. Yep.
Exactly. So when you see them and you see their skin, you can tell that their nutrition isn't up to par. where do you start? How do you start there?
What I usually would do is I just do like I would do like an assessment, so to speak, based on the system that I was trained in to do as far as holistic fitness training. I look at it from like four elements, as quote unquote, the four doctors, as they call it. I look at it from the movement perspective. I look at it from the diet perspective. I look at it from what brings them joy and what brings them happiness and stuff like that. And of course, I look at it from the sense of peace and quiet. And when I look at someone and I can tell, like, their skin is all out of whack, or if, I could just feel and sense the anxiety and stuff like that, I just begin the process of implementing like the ultimate success formula, as far as just figuring out what it is that you want to accomplish out of this. Are you trying to, like, for example, are you trying to increase your overall energy? Are you trying to lose weight? Are you trying to gain muscle? I put them through this list of questions, this list of assessment, just kind of attaching all those things, figuring out their heart health, figuring out their digestive health, figuring out their overall skin issues. There's like an assessment that I go through as far as just tackling all of those aspects. Again, seeing how much sleep they get on a regular basis, what their current diet looks like within itself. And at the same time, just seeing like how they process things from a mental, emotional, spiritual standpoint. Because what I've been trying to implement within all of my clients is like, it goes back to just energy. We just need more of that energy. And I feel like that energy can like help shine through our skin as well, for example, because I like to teach people the importance of just like the chakra system within itself and tapping into like the energy centers and the energy disc, because I don't think people realize how deep that is. Because, for example, with the root chakra, for instance, the root chakra basically deals with all the things that we strive for on a regular basis, which is safety and security. Safety and security in our home, safety and security within our job, safety and security within our money, safety and security within our families. And when you look at it from that perspective, that basically ties into your whole entire lower body, for example. So it's like, for instance, if you're having issues like anything within like your lower body or anything, your sense of grounding is off from within, your root chakra is all out of alignment. And you could do certain things like as far as just, tapping into like eating certain color foods as far as to help out, like, for instance, with improving your skin. Like the main color of the root chakra is red. You want to basically get your root chakra in alignment. You could eat like a handful of strawberries, for example, going more into like, for instance, the fifth chakra, for instance, your throat chakra. For people who I had a client in particular who was having thyroid issues once upon a time. I told her, hey, you're having thyroid issues. Oh, your throat chakra is all out of alignment. Your communication and skills and all that could be a little bit out of alignment as well, based on your throat and stuff. So what I suggested was implementing a little bit more blueberries into their diet, since the throat chakra is blue. Blueberries is a common food. Eat a handful of blueberries every day on a regular basis. Good example of that. One of my favorite heart chakras, and this is actually the one that I literally meditated to earlier as far as the frequency of the heart chakra, is the heart chakra, which is green, for example. You would think that the heart chakra would be red, considering the fact that that's what our color of the heart is normally known for, as being red, but it's a lot deeper than that, because when you tap into your heart chakra, you're getting a sense of compassion, you're getting a sense of empathy, you're getting a sense of understanding and just loving yourself first and foremost, but at the same time being able to love others. And it's like a good way to tap into that is just, eating a lot more green foods, which is ironically enough good for your heart, like the spinaches, the kales, the green apples, celery, any kind of green fruit or vegetable. It's just, in all actuality, where I'm trying to get at, is just implement more fruits and vegetables. That way your skin could literally glow, your skin could literally shine, and you can overcome any of those conditions, as well as just, that's kind of what I'm kind of going back to in regards to that. And one thing you touched on, one thing I wanted to throw in based on what you were talking about as well, it's just removing all of the mucus out of your body, because that's really what the root of all disease is mucus. I mean, the late great Dr. Sebi basically said that better than anybody. So it's like, you remove the mucus out of your body, everything else will take care of itself, from your hair, your skin, your overall heart, all the major organs within your body. I feel like if you get rid of the mucus, everything else will take care of itself, and then just continue to implement the fruits and vegetables, because most people don't realize that fruits cleanse out your system, which is something that your skin needs to get rid of all the toxins and stuff. And at the same time, vegetables strengthen your overall body. It strengthens your overall muscles. It strengthens the connective tissues and the bones and all that, and it kind of ties it all together.
Right, exactly, man. And that there alone is your whole foods. Whole foods right there. You don't have to worry about slicing it up and making sure you got the right slice of the vegetable or the right slice of the fruit. All of it is good for you. You can just pick it and eat it right then and there. And there's a reason for that, everything that's organic has seeds in it. If it don't have seeds in it, then it's not really too much organic, except if you do have. And this is a good question for you, because I hear every time I say that, there's always a naysayer that says something about the breeding, the third generation breeding of fruits and vegetables in nature. But the third generation doesn't come with seeds. Have you ever heard anything like that?
Have I heard anything in regards to just the seeds being in fruits and vegetables, or?
Oh no, like what they say is, like in nature, apparently when seeds germinate, when plants germinate together and they end up being hybrid plants, like the squash is supposedly I'm sorry, not squash, it's something that's a hybrid plant from the squash. And something else, but the two breeds ended up marrying each other and having a different breed come out. And they say, since it doesn't have seeds, it's still natural, it's still organic, it just doesn't have seeds because it's the third generation. I've tried to look this up, but I haven't really seen any evidence about this, but I don't know if you've ever heard anything about it.
That is brand new to me, as far as you just explaining that. But as far as just to give my 2 cents on what I think about that, it's like, we got to get back to just, trusting who exactly our farmers are in that particular matter, and just making sure that they're doing it to the regular USDA standards and stuff, as far as just growing their crops as they should from like a natural organic base level. Because we just need to get back to just trusting our local farmers. We need to get back into just regenerative farming within itself, to where we can ensure that everything is natural, everything is organic. We need to incorporate, if anything, regenerative farming into that. And there's someone in particular who I know here in town who specializes in exactly that, and all her stuff is just homegrown and everything. I'm gonna give a special shout out to her, Miss Aislinn Campbell, a good friend of mine. She has a farm called Freedom Harvest Farms out in Taft, Texas, where she basically has that down to a T, as far as just the importance of just trusting the soil, trusting the growing process, trusting the harvesting process, and just really going back and just to that homestead regenerative farming, and just being able to just trust the process, to where you won't be able to have all these little hybrid plants coming together and stuff like that.
Right.
I feel like it just comes back to just being more, just going back to just knowing your farmers and knowing your sources, and making sure that it is free from all the herbicides, the pesticides, all the chemicals and stuff like that. And just, it's kind of like, it goes back to Dr. Sebi. If it doesn't have seeds in it, then it's not organic. If it doesn't have seeds in it, it's not organic. If it does have seeds in it, it is organic. It is a trusted source. There's a reason why Dr. Sebi wants you to eat seeded grapes instead of seedless grapes. That alone just explains the importance of just like trusting that wherever the source is coming from, whether the fruits or vegetables, that one, they know what they're doing, and know they're doing the necessary practices to ensure the safe qualities of it being organically known.
Exactly. And whenever you eat balanced, you eat healthy, you get your mucus levels decreased dramatically.
Oh yeah.
But I do know that I was in my research that I was finding out that you actually specialize in a superfood that actually helps to decrease your mucus buildup.
Oh yeah, the
And
sea
at the
moss.
same time, yeah, you already know where I'm going with that. Tell us about it, man. Tell us about your sea moss.
Oh, the sea moss, Joe. I love the sea moss, and I'm just the best thing about sea moss that I've gotten out of it, as far as just doing my own research, as you know, E, it's like having conversations with all these other holistic practitioners. One gentleman in particular who actually introduced me to the importance of just the Irish moss and sea moss. I give all the credit in the world to Mr. Christian Smalls. He's kind of the person who kind of opened the door as far as, oh, you've never heard of Irish moss? You've never heard of sea moss? Here, let me give you a brief overview. And then he kind of just let me try it a little bit. And I was like, oh, wow, I need to incorporate this into my life a little bit more. And I was kind of ashamed and mad at myself, E, because I wish I would have known about this sooner. But at
Right.
the same time, better late than never. But for
Yes.
those who are unfamiliar with sea moss, it's basically a natural aquatic plant. It came from like the seas of Jamaica and everything like that. And what it does, it's like it's so natural and it's so powerful. I don't think people realize like the effects that it can do. Like it has 92 vitamins and minerals that the body overall needs out of the overall 102. I mean, it gives you calcium, it gives you magnesium, it gives you zinc, just to name a few. But the one thing that I love about it the most, it goes back to what I've been talking about earlier. It boosts your overall energy. I mean, you could literally take a spoonful and treat it like if you're taking a scoop of applesauce, and then it's like, boom, you're ready to go from an energy level perspective. Hence, it also helps out with your thyroid levels as well. Again, I had that one particular client who I had before who was having those thyroid issues. I definitely had them try to sea moss, Joe, and it made that much of a difference within their overall thyroid. A lot of people don't realize that it also helps out with your digestive tract. Most people don't even realize this is probably my favorite thing, or my two favorite things. It's a good post-workout recovery supplement too for all my athletes out there. If you're looking for a natural post-workout recovery supplement, get you some sea moss, Joe, into your life. It'll make a difference, let me tell you. And my favorite thing about it, which I feel like is a game changer, is that you notice, it helps relieve cold and flu-like symptoms. I mean, here's a particular client who I had who actually bought the sea moss, Joe. I'll never forget this story. I was with my girlfriend. We went to a little bar setting, hangout spot. We were there sitting on the back patio. The person who bought the sea moss, Joe, for me, we winded up running into each other coincidentally. It wasn't planned or anything. And I remember she came and sat down at the table and was talking to us about how she was going through COVID and all that stuff. And whenever she took the sea moss gel, it helped get rid of all her symptoms, to the point where it blew the doctor's mind, to where it's like, how did you get rid of it so quickly? And when I heard that, that just lets me know, hey, the sea moss gel is the real deal. It definitely needs to be incorporated a little bit more. And as a matter of fact, it just needs to be like, we need to educate people on the importance of it. We need to let people know that, hey, this is here to stay. And the most important thing is it doesn't provide any kind of side effects. Last time I checked,
Right.
I mean, we need that. It goes back to just needing the whole natural, holistic remedies to balance out with the conventional medicine, because I remember having a conversation about this with the only naturopath doctor we have here in Corpus Christi, Texas. Her name is Dr. LaDonna Rocha. I had her on my podcast about a couple of months ago, and we talked about the importance of just balancing out the natural holistic side with the conventional medicine side. It's done like that in every single country but here.
Right.
And we all know the reason why it's not being done here, because we all know how Big Pharma has their stamps, and then we all know how the government has all these secret handshakes and backdoor deals with not only Big Pharma, with all these insurance companies and stuff like that. I get it. That's the way how America makes their money from within, which is what they don't talk about enough. And that's a whole nother thing. But it's like, we need to get back to just having a balance about just, I'm not saying, hey, conventional medicine comes in handy in certain situations, hits life or death type situations. But goes back to what I mentioned earlier. If we can take care of ourselves and give the doctors and nurses and all the people in the medical field a little bit of a breather, and we could just take care of ourselves with just some sea moss gel, you realize how much of a difference that could be made and how much more lives can be benefited and if not saved by just healing themselves from within and just reversing the DNA structures as far as just the epigenetic standpoint of just rising above how their DNA is overall structured, hence breaking those generational curses that I was talking about earlier. It's a game changer.
Facts. All facts right there. And a lot of people, they see that, and because one thing that I've heard when it comes to eating healthy, that is pricey. But I guess it's because they don't have to pay those hospital bills when they go to the hospital, that they don't understand the balance. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A $20 jar of sea moss can save you a $2,000 hospital bill.
Yep,
it can. And once we understand that our health was free, because our health is free, taking care of our health has been made a commodity. Once we understand that, then we can actually start going back into looking into, okay, how did we do this before hospitals was necessary? How did we do this before there was an actual real doctor?
We need to get back to how the Native Americans did it, E. It's just they took care of themselves with natural remedies for thousands of years. There's a reason why they lived to be more than 100 years old. And as a matter of fact, taking it back from a biblical standpoint, I don't think people understand that the human body was meant to last more than 100 years. And it was longer than that, actually, before the Noah's Ark story happened and everything, that the body was literally meant to live up to be 120 years old. But obviously it kind of cut back due to all the whole environment, due to what we're putting into our bodies. We're literally reversing our life expectancy every single day when we should be increasing our life expectancy back to how our ancestors used to have it way before big pharma and hospitals and doctors and all that were even around.
Exactly. And I just wrote a blog.
It really is.
I just wrote a blog article on my Southside Beauty Care blog the other day about metabolic aging and how you can decrease it with a water fast and 2 tablespoons of sea moss every day. What regimes besides that do you actually suggest, or that whenever you talking to your clients that you say, hey, this would be a good fit for you? What kind of health routine, like what kind of fasting, or what kind of routine do you usually give out?
I would just add to everything you just said, but I would even take it a step further. It's just implementing intermittent fasting into their life occasionally, or just going on that fast of just, drinking nothing but water, eating nothing but just fruits and vegetables on a regular basis, and just really tapping into that intermittent fasting, that time-based eating pattern, to where it's like, for instance, try not to eat so late at night. I mean, I know it can be challenging, especially with how the days are at times. I myself struggle with that occasionally at times, to where I try to eat by like a particular time and stick to that particular time. Try not to eat anything like at least past 8 or 9 o'clock, for example. And if you really want to practice like that intermittent fasting, try to, skip breakfast and basically just, eat like lunch, for example, kind of do an intermittent fast from like, say, not about 8 o'clock to about noon the next day. That way you can really just remove all those toxins from your body, and at the same time give your body a chance to relax and breathe from within, and fight off anything that may be affecting it.
Yeah, exactly. Food is a drug. Food is a drug too. Exactly. So whenever you utilize it, you got to balance that out. You can't just be gorging. A lot of people McDonald's 5 times a day and then wondering
Yeah.
why they at the hospital 3 times a week. You know,
Yeah.
give your body a break. Your body is trying to tell you something. Listen to it.
Yeah. It's like
Tell me about
what you eat basically becomes your food, literally becomes your cells. Obviously, your cells become your tissues become your organs becomes your overall body systems. There's a reason why they say you are what you eat. If you eat clean all the time, you're going to remain a clean person from within. Now, if it's like if you eat a bunch of garbage and sprinkle a bunch of, ketchup on top of it, for instance, what do you think is going to happen with your overall body? Your body's going to become literally a dump. And then next thing you know, it's going to have you feeling lethargic. It's going to drag your energy levels down, and it's going to increase the chances of insulin resistance. It's going to increase the chances of that high blood pressure, that cholesterol, the diabetes, and the obesity, just to name a few. It's like the more garbage we put inside of our body, the more we're going to increase our insulin resistance, hence leading to all these pre-existing health conditions that we're so attached to, not only just as Black folks, just as an overall society. I mean, from a diabetes standpoint alone, I don't know if you notice or not, but there are more people in 2021 who died from diabetes than COVID. There was like at least 7 million people who were affected by diabetes and died from it more than COVID. Like, let that sink in for a second. And that alone will tell you the impact of what insulin resistance does just to the society as a whole. And we need to reverse that effect by just practicing more intermittent fasting and more of a time-based eating pattern. Like, drink nothing but water, for instance, in the morning. That way you can really flush out all the toxins just by drinking water. I mean, our body is made up of water. 70% of our body is made up of water. And 70% of the whole entire earth is made up of water. So it's like there's water everywhere. And when you do consume water, always go for spring water. That's the best source of water that you could drink every single time. And if not spring water, best, maybe worst case scenario, purified. Definitely stay away from tap water. I mean, stay away from tap water because with everything that's going on with the water and how polluted it's getting, you can drink that tap water if you want to. Next thing you know, you try turning on that water from your faucet, and then it's going to be looking unusual color, and it's going to have an unusual smell that you're not accustomed to. Are you still going to take a drink of that same tap water, or are you going to convert to, spring water, which is the best source of water that you can drink? And to add to that, sprinkle in a little bit of sea salt, for instance, to provide those electrolytes to help remove the inflammation, to help prevent headaches, to help, cut down on the arthritis and any kind of soreness whatsoever.
Yeah, I like the fact that sea salt has a high amount of magnesium, and a lot of people don't know. You can drink water all day long, but if you don't actually have that magnesium in your body, you're going to waterlog your body. Your cells can't absorb that water, and they're wondering why their legs are getting swollen. And then this is my favorite. You told me to drink water. I also told you to eat right.
That is true. You're like,
So when it comes to actually being able to take care, a lot of people, they listen to like these clips, and I love TikTok. I love TikTok because it's getting the information out there, but a lot of people don't like to do research. A lot of people don't like to read. This is why I'm so happy that you wrote 2 books, because you given the full plan, not just telling them, oh, do this little bit, thinking you'll be okay. No, because that's what doctors do. These doctors nowadays, I'm not trying to bash the doctors. I know they did a lot of training, and they some of them really got a heart in their body that is for the people. When you go to these doctors, you tell them, I have a headache. What's going on? Okay, well, here's some ibuprofen. Wait a minute now. Why do I have a headache?
Yeah, they're basically they're not addressing the root cause of the issue. It's like they're going like the quick fix method. They're like, here, take this, you'll be fine. And then here's my best way of how to describe how doctors like to operate and just conventional medicine in general. It's a very popular joke by Cat Williams that I'll never forget to this very day. I feel like this is one of his most underrated and favorite, one of my favorite jokes. It's like, I think I forgot which stand-up special he did it in. I think it was in the American Hustle stand-ups. One of them. It was one of the ones he did in 2007, his trademark ones. But I remember him saying, you go to the doctor's office, they put you on one medication, it fucks something up within your body. The next thing you know, you got to do another medication, and then it messes that up. And then you got to do another medication. The next thing you know, you got 3 or 4 medications, and you look like an upside down flamingo and shit. Exactly how Cat Williams said it. And I'm thinking to myself, that was hilarious. But then at the same time, when I took a step back, I was like, well, he's not lying. I mean, he's absolutely right. And that's something I like to tell people all the time, as far as just those who are attached to their prescriptions as much. It's like, you wonder why you're having all these issues. Look at all the medications that you're on. If we can just wheel you back off of each medication one at a time, come back to Mother Earth, come back to the natural holistic side a little bit, and show that, hey, you could take care of like that dry cough, or you could take care of just, helping to like lose weight and stuff by just, drinking water with lemon every single day. You know how much wonder that does to just removing your toxins and removing your belly fat? You do that every single day. You could probably, you won't have to take like anti-obesity prescriptions and stuff of that nature.
Man, you ain't lying about that. And it's just hopefully
so much we can get into.
Right. It is. And we definitely like we're gonna have you on this show a lot, because like you say, there's so much that needs to be talked about, so much that needs to be discussed. The next time we're gonna have you on, we definitely gonna have you break down your books for us. That will
I can definitely do that.
So man, it's been a wonderful conversation. First, do you want to tell the audience where they can find you at, where they can find your CMOS, where can they find health, fitness, wealth, all of that?
Oh, no, of course, E. Well, first and foremost, they can find me on all social media platforms. I'm on Facebook, my regular name, Clifton Pope. You can find me, of course, on Facebook with Health, Fitness, Wealth Business has a Facebook page. Please like, please share, please subscribe to that, as far as just to help grow the following, grow the community within Facebook. Instagram, as you alluded to, you can find me underneath cpope_44. That's my Instagram handle, where I put together all of like my workout reels, my motivational TikTok reels. And speaking of TikTok, you can find me on TikTok at healthfwealthb.cp. That's my TikTok handle for Health, Fitness, Wealth Business. Again, I put out my workout reels, I put out my motivational reels, I put out nutrition reels and stuff of that nature. You can find me on YouTube. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, Health, Fitness, Wealth Business. But the catch to this, it's Health, Fitness, Wealth Business. But with the business, you only spell business with the 1 E instead of 2 E's. And then it's 8726. They can find my YouTube channel there. Website, Health, Fitness, Wealth Business, all lowercase.com/CP for my initials, to get that stamp that this is me and this is what I'm doing. And yes, you can, of course, listen to the Health, Fitness, Wealth Business podcast series. You can find it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts. Please download, please subscribe, please leave a review. That way we could continue to grow through what we go through on a regular basis. And at the same time, as you were alluding to, E, you can find my book, What's Wealth Without Work, my second book, $1 in a Vision. They're both available on Amazon for purchase. And regarding the CMOS gel, you can get the CMOS gel directly from me by giving me a call at 361-765-4760, my personal phone number. And at the same time, you can email me, all lowercase, cpope.cp@gmail.com. And if you want to you could also get the CMOS gel at this sports nutrition shop here in Corpus Christi, Texas, called TNT Health. They are located on 9450 SBID Drive here in Corpus Christi, Texas, Suite 6B. It's has a green sign, green building and all. You can't miss it. It's in Oso Bridge Plaza, right off of Flower Bluff Drive and stuff. Definitely give them don't go visit them, support local businesses, get your sea moss gel there, along with other natural, organic, gluten-free fitness products that can benefit you as well. Tell them that I sent you. They'll truly appreciate it. And yeah, that's pretty much all of my handles and anywhere you can find me in regards to that. And also just if you're also all my personal training people who are looking for personal training clients, again, give me a call, 361-765-4760. Email me, cpope.cp@gmail.com. We can put together a time, sit down for a consultation, begin your assessment, and begin your holistic fitness transformation journey. That's me.
Man, that's what's up. That's what's up. Like I say, this is Clifton Pope. I told you it was going to be a great interview, wasn't it? Man, looky here. You already know what it is. Find them on all the social media platforms that he just named and hit that like, follow, subscribe button, hit that share button because your family needs to get their health, they need to get their fitness, and they need to get their wealth in line. So definitely reach out to them, get those books off of Amazon right now, and build yourself up, please, because this is what we need right now. We're in a totally different age. They can't lie to us no more. They can't lie to us no more. It was a wonderful interview. I appreciate coming on here once again. We're definitely going to line up another interview with you because we definitely want to find out what's in those books right now.
Oh yeah, that's definitely a whole nother topic within itself, and I look forward to coming back on to the show, E. And I would encourage all your listeners and all your followers on this platform to just, like I tell everybody all the time, just stay healthy, stay wealthy and blessed. Peace, love, and positive vibrations every single time. I appreciate the opportunity, E. I'm definitely humbled and honored by it and grateful for it, most importantly.
The pleasure with all ours. Thank you so much. All right, everybody. Like I said, go hit that like, follow, and subscribe button. This is Mr. E, Boss of the Southside Bosses here on Revolutionary Hour with Clifton Pope, and we are out.